You're born into a world where money's tight and expectations are high. Forget luxury. Your family's living in a small house in the rough neighborhoods of Funchal, Madeira, where the idea of fame and fortune feels like a distant dream. The only thing you've got is a love for football, and that's going to be your ticket out of here. But here's the kicker. Nobody's handing you that ticket. You've got to earn it. Every single day. From the start, you're already at a disadvantage. You're not born with a golden spoon in your mouth, and the world around you doesn't care that you've got raw talent. You don't have a rich dad to throw money at your dreams. No, instead, your family is scraping by. Your father works as a gardener, and your mom's doing whatever she can to keep the family afloat. There's no big house, no fancy vacations, no private coaches, just a dream, a ball, and a whole lot of determination. But let's talk about that determination. You're young, and you've got your eyes set on one thing: football. Sounds easy, right? Except this isn't a fairy tale where everyone believes in your dream. No, your parents don't have the cash to send you to top-tier football academies. You've got to work harder than everyone else to make it, and that means doing things like playing in the streets with barely enough room to move, all while dealing with the harsh realities of being poor. Your best shot? Football. It's your only shot. At first, though, football's not some glamorous career. It's a lot of lonely hours training, sometimes in rough conditions. Your friends, they may not believe you'll make it, and even your family might wonder if all those hours spent kicking a ball are worth it. You're not just trying to become a better player, you're fighting for your future. You're out there hustling while most kids your age are enjoying their childhood. Because for you, childhood's over the moment you pick up a ball. Your family might not have the resources, but you've got the drive. Eventually, things start to change, and you make it into a local football team. But getting a spot on the team isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Sure, you're good, but the road ahead is filled with challenges. Every time you play, every game, you're fighting against not just the opposing team, but also the weight of being the underdog. People aren't just waiting for you to succeed, they're waiting for you to fail. Your talent might be undeniable, but when you're from a poor background, no one's going to hand you anything. But you're persistent, and soon enough, you get a spot in one of the best football academies in Portugal. This is the turning point. But hold up. Just because you're at the academy doesn't mean you're made. There's no cushy training ground with guaranteed success. In fact, it's the opposite. You're in a new place, away from your family, surrounded by other hungry, talented kids, all clawing their way to the top. You're just one of many. And guess what? There's a lot of pressure here. You're not just trying to impress coaches. You're trying to prove to the world that you, a kid from humble beginnings, belong. Let's talk about your personal life for a second. You're not living it up with your pals at some swanky party. You're not getting free time to chill. No, instead, you're eating, breathing, and sleeping football. The sport is all-consuming. Your personal life takes a backseat as you spend hours on the field, practicing, getting better, hoping someone will notice. And then there's the mental toll. It's not just about physical strength, it's about mental toughness. You're constantly pushed to your limits, doubted by others, and fighting against the belief that you'll always be just another kid from a poor family. Fast forward and you get your big break. You get to play for the Portuguese national team and eventually sign with Sporting CP. But guess what? That's not the end of your struggles. Far from it. You're about to face the spotlight, and it's brutal. You'll be scrutinized by the media, picked apart by critics, and expected to be perfect at all times. Every match is a test, not just of skill, but of endurance. It's not just about playing football. It's about surviving the constant pressure that comes with being good, better, and the best. And let's not even talk about the media circus. You're no longer just a player, you're a brand. Every part of your life will be analyzed, from your style to your relationships to the way you eat or walk. You'll face rumors, fake headlines, and paparazzi following you everywhere. Imagine trying to live a normal life when the whole world is constantly watching you. Let's talk about the real kicker of being a global superstar, the fans. At first glance, it seems like an ideal situation. Millions of people cheering for you, celebrating every goal, every win. But here's the catch. Fans are not loyal in the way you might think. They'll love you when you're on top, when you're breaking records and winning trophies. But the moment you slip, the moment you have a bad game or a mistake, they'll turn on you. It's an emotional roller coaster, and not the fun kind. One day, you're their hero. The next, you're the villain. It's a constant shift that can leave you wondering where your real support lies. You might give everything to your team, spend hours training and leave it all on the field, but it doesn't matter. All it takes is one loss, one bad performance, and suddenly fans are calling for your head. The same people who were chanting your name just a week ago are now ready to tear you down. That's the price of fame. The love is conditional. When you're at your best, you're a god to your supporters. But when you're struggling, when you're human, all that adoration can evaporate in a heartbeat. It doesn't matter how many times you've carried your team to victory, they forget when you've hit a rough patch. And what makes it harder? You can't escape the hate. The social media platforms are filled with criticism, and the more you try to defend yourself, the more the mob seems to grow. You realize that the applause isn't always genuine, it's temporary, based on how well you're performing in that moment. Your value is tied to what you do on the field, and if you stop meeting their expectations, you're no longer the hero. You're just another failure. That back and forth of admiration and disdain can be soul-crushing, and it's something you can never predict. One day you're a superstar, the next you're a disappointment. But here's the truth. You've got no time for a normal life. You're Cristiano Ronaldo, and you're expected to always be on. That means you'll be training even when you're injured, pushing your body to its limits, and never showing signs of weakness. Every time you step onto that pitch, it's not just about scoring goals. It's about justifying your place among the greatest. The pressure to be perfect is constant, and the moment you slip up, you're not just a guy on a bad streak. You're a failure in the eyes of millions. But let's talk about one last thing: the toll on your body. Even the greatest athletes break down eventually. Those hours of intense training, the constant games, the pressure to never get injured, it all takes a toll. But quitting? That's never an option. You keep going because you're not just playing for yourself anymore. You're playing for your family, your country, your legacy. The truth is, you're not just fighting for success. You're fighting to prove that a kid from nothing can make it all the way to the top. Now let's talk about the money. Sure, being wealthy sounds great, but it's not all sunshine and private jets. The moment you hit the top, you're no longer just managing money, you're managing the expectations that come with it. You've got people wanting a piece of your fortune, whether it's family members, friends, or even random strangers. You quickly realize that having money means you're surrounded by people with agendas. Everyone wants something from you, whether it's for their own business, their personal goals, or just to be in your circle for the sake of status. And then there's the constant pressure to hold on to that wealth. The higher you climb, the harder it becomes to stay on top. You've got to invest, manage businesses, hire financial advisors, and make sure you don't lose it all. Every decision is a gamble because if you fail, it's not just your career at risk. It's your entire empire. People might think having millions in the bank means relaxation, but in reality, you're constantly calculating risks, facing lawsuits, and fighting off people who want to take advantage of your success. At some point, it's not about spending your money anymore. It's about protecting it. And the worst part? You can never just enjoy your wealth without feeling guilty about it. The world constantly watches you, judging how you spend your money. Take a vacation? People wonder why you're spending so much. Buy a new car? Suddenly you're a symbol of excess. You can't even buy a simple gift for a loved one without the media picking it apart. Having money means that you're constantly in the spotlight, and that can feel suffocating. In a world where you're expected to give back, it can be impossible to just live for yourself without feeling the weight of expectation. So why does it suck to be born as Cristiano Ronaldo? Because you're born with an unshakable burden. You're expected to be perfect, and the weight of the world is constantly on your shoulders. You don't get to take breaks, you don't get to relax, and you certainly don't get to fail. You've got to keep running, keep achieving, and keep proving yourself. Because as a kid from a poor family, you've got one shot at greatness, and you're not going to let anything stop you.